Lucid Dreamers, we're back again for week 4 of the Artist's Way, Creative Recovery. I find myself actively being more creative and doing things again and questioning things more, chasing things more, being more cognizant of what I'm spending my time doing and like allowing myself to be free to express myself more, I think was the biggest one I could feel like throughout this week. Like, oh, I'm not afraid to express how much I am liking the song right now, or I'm just dancing all the time again when I just feel like it, or, I think that's been really great to feel and see coming out of week 4. Just like I'm allowing myself to be myself more and more and more. And the fact that we got 8 more weeks is really incredible. So, week 4 was recovering a sense of integrity. The Oxford Dictionary defines integrity as the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, or the state of being whole and undivided. So, looking at the definition and going back to how I felt like throughout the week, I can tell that I think I think this week definitely did its job. As busy as I was, I struggled to find the time to do everything all the time, But somehow, man, I just found myself, going through it and gaining what I was supposed to gain out of this week. So, recovering a sense of integrity this week may find you grappling with changing self definition. The essays, tasks, and exercises are designed to catapult you into productive introspection and integration of new self awareness. This may be both very difficult and extremely exciting for you. Warning, do not skip the tool of reading deprivation. I skipped the tool for the most part, I'm not gonna lie. But we're gonna get into that. But, and I don't think this is gonna be as long of a video this week, but I think I find myself asking more questions about why am I spending my time doing this? And, I don't find myself having a good time doing this, or man, I don't feel good, when I do this, or I feel forced into this situation a lot more coming out of this week. And like just looking back and making sure that I'm following the design that, with which I was made. I'm just asking a lot more questions. Like I'm looking into myself and just talking to God more and the people around me who I trust about, you know, hey, I don't feel good about this situation, you know, and just trying to gain a collective, like, am I being wrong in my thinking, or is this a true feeling that I should go ahead and hold on to? My first point of reference being God, the second being me, the third being the closest people around me. And so this was a shorter chapter than the previous one so far. They spoke about making honest changes, and there was an exercise in here listing 5 hobbies that sound fun, 5 classes that sound fun, And I think that's just kind of like digging into yourself and like, what do I really feel? And she kind of like encouraged us to like not think about it too much. It's like first thing that comes to your head, like, what sounds fun? What's something that sounds fun that you'd never do? Like stuff like that. And when it comes to the reading deprivation, that was just don't read for a week. And because I took time to read the chapter, I didn't even know that was a thing. But to be honest, I didn't read all that much. But I don't know if I got what I was supposed to get out of that. Because I think a good equivalent for me would be stay off social media for a week. And I might go into this next week doing that because I can see from what she said what that was supposed to do for me, clearing my mind. Like in our lives, it's so easy, especially now in the age that we live in, to consume, consume, consume. take a break from that and see what your body produces. We need to produce more than we consume. So, yeah. I mean, going into my artist state as well, again, this was a very busy week. I struggle to think about it. And I have a list of things that I want to do, but because I spent a lot more time with people this past weekend and going up and down, I struggle to find time alone. But I did today. And my artist date was watching behind the scenes videos of artists that I really respect, from back in the day till now. And I love doing this thing of spending time with the people who inspire me a lot. They're not accessible to me right now. I can't call them up and be like, "Hey, yo, can I come chill at your crib?" But I can watch them and humanize them and see the processes that they go through to get their art done and the way they think and, how much they work. I love doing that. I love watching interviews. I love seeing how people changed their lives and watching documentaries and all of that. So I think of it as spending time with these people. And it comes from that thing that people always say, like, show me your 9 friends and I'll know exactly who you are. Or like, if you spend time with 9 lazy people, you're going to be the 10th, for example, whoever you spend the most time with, you become one of them. And so I'm trying to spend time with the greats as much as I can, be in their space and, absorb what I can from that so that when I go out and, be in my own space or be in other spaces out in the real world out there, I carry that energy with me. So that was my artist date. I had a really good time doing that, setting aside time to do that. And my tasks were, I think I'm gonna go through the most important tasks, right? And for me, the most important tasks for this past week, and I ended up doing all of them, but the ones that stood out were describing myself at 80 and then writing a letter to myself now as my 80-year-old self, and then describing myself when I was 8 and writing a letter to myself as I am now, writing to myself now as I was when I was 8 years old. And the different perspectives affected me in very different but both very deep ways. Feeling that pull and the way that I look at time is very different to how we learn about it. I guess, people look at time like this, right? Start and end, and we live on a timeline. And the way I think about time and the way that I interpret time is that we experience time like that. Not all the time, but mostly we live and experience time on this line, where we're going from the start and then we live and it was yesterday and then it's today and then it's going to be tomorrow until we die. But I look at time as this, a singular point where every single moment in time exists now, simultaneously. Let me put it like that. If I say now, it incorporates time, but simultaneously. The beginning and the end of time is happening right now. And so even then my 80-year-old self and my 8-year-old self are there right now. Those feelings you have where you feel like, oh, this is meant for me, or, I don't know why, but I feel like, this person I just met, like we're gonna be really good friends, or I'm supposed to be in that country. Like that is already happening. And I always interpret it as like I'm just talking to myself from the future or talking to myself from the past, and we're just living like I am the experience of me right now, 2025, but every single part of me is collaborating to to make the best version of me and my life happen, right? And so when I was writing these letters, I could feel like almost I was tapping into my actual 80-year-old self writing that letter to me and my actual 8-year-old self writing that letter to me. And even the way I just naturally let myself write, and the way I signed off my name, even, if I had to do it now, I probably would have thrown in like a lucid or something like that. But as my 80-year-old self, I flipped back after I did it as my 8-year-old self, and you'll see why now. Because as my 80-year-old self, I signed it off Tino Tienda, and as my 8-year-old self, I signed it off Tino. And the things I was saying in both of them, like it really felt so real. Like I was those versions of me, and when I was done with the 8-year-old self, and I did these on 2 separate days, but I became really like emotional. I could feel that. It was such a freeing thing, internalizing that this version of me is not the only version of me. And every version of me is so real, and all the dreams that I've ever had and all the things that I'll ever accomplish are here in the now. And all the wisdom I'll ever garner here in the now, all the fun that I ever had is still here. I haven't lost anything. And everything that I'll ever feel like I'm gonna gain, I already have. So why why fear anything when you're being authentically yourself? When you're living with integrity. Integrity isn't just me as you see me. It's accepting all those different parts of you that exist on this timeline to present yourself as this version of you here, right? And so that was really a beautiful experience. I had a great time, focusing on integrity. And I won't lie, I did skip a morning page. I won't lie, maybe two. I maybe skipped like 2 morning pages. I'm not gonna lie. Again, it's been so hectic, and when it's hectic, I find myself skipping the morning pages because it's the easiest thing to skip. Get out of bed, get ready for the day, pray, morning mantras, get out, start doing what I gotta do, and telling myself, oh, I'll do it later, I'll do it later. But I find that's the tendency of what suffers when I find myself being busy. And it goes back to, what am I giving authority? What am I prioritizing in my life? Which parts of me am I prioritizing in my life? And my artist self suffers way too much. And that's the newest thing that has come to light, that I need to focus on the most, because that can't be the case. Every part of me is important, and I keep having to do like this life pie diagram that shows like how much in exercising or relationships or art or adventure I'm spending time doing, and not enough is going towards who I am as an artist. It's very imbalanced, and I'm working on it. I'm working on it, but I'm making a lot more music now, and I'm excited for everything that's going to come out of me and for everything to come. Looking at week 5, recovering a sense of possibility. This week, you're being asked to examine your payoffs in remaining stuck. You will explore how you curtail your own possibilities by placing limits on the good you can receive. You will examine the cost of settling for appearing good instead of being authentic. You may find yourself thinking about radical changes, no longer ruling out your growth by making others the cause of your constriction. Crazy, that's literally what I was just talking about. So let's go. I'm excited to see how week 5 is going to be. That's exactly what I just said I needed. Let's see what we can do. But until then, stay blessed. Peace.